Postseason basketball on the farm, and which should be a terrific second round WBIT matchup between the visiting Quinnipiac Bobcats and the home team Stanford Cardinal. Welcome in, everybody, on this glorious Sunday afternoon here in the Bay Area. Scott Reese with Ashley Jones. And Ashley, it's good to see that some folks have decided to take some time out of a beautiful Sunday and eschew the sunshine for a couple hours. Watch what should be a great game.
There's nothing like playing basketball in March, and if you're a hoops fan, this is the best time of year. Both these teams have a chance to play for a championship. That's not something that everybody's able to do right now. So
it is win or go home. It is one and done, and so we check the bracket here for the WBIT. Both these teams advancing to this second round game. The winner will move on to play either BYU or Missouri in the quarterfinal on Thursday. Those two teams will play on Monday night. And of course, the ultimate goal, get to the championship, which will be held in Wichita, Kansas. It is impressive, not only the win total, but you look at the defensive numbers. 51.7 points a game is astoundingly good. And oh, by the way, they lead the entire nation, having won 15 games on the road this year.
Well, Quinnipiac is first in the MAC in their scoring defense. They're efficient, they're disciplined, and they are very good at turning their defense into offense.
And of course, head coach Trisha Fabry, 31 years and is already announced. Stanford is concerned. Look, they've got some star power, but it starts with Nunu Aguera, who just went over 1,000 career points in the most recent game here in this WBIT, but she is the engine that has to fuel the Cardinal attack.
Nunu Aguera is physical, she's versatile, and she is extremely efficient. She's active on the offensive glass, and that is where she's going to be able to shine this afternoon. She's a great rebounder, and Stanford's going to need that type of effort for her if they want to come out on top.
And I think in this game, maybe more than most for Stanford, when you look at the numbers, offensively, they have struggled a bit shooting the basketball, and we know what Quinnipiac can do on the defensive end, and so you would think the size, the strength, the rebounding advantage is something that Stanford will have to take advantage of this afternoon.
Right, second chance opportunities are huge. Anytime you can give your team another possession, another shot at the rim, that's always going to be a good thing.
And the Cardinal right on cue win the opening tip, and here we go. Stanford moving left to right in the home whites. And right away they turn the ball over as they wanted Alex Eschmeyer in the post, and a little too hot to handle from Chloe Clardy, who gets the start today because Laura Shomfai, Stanford's outstanding all-freshman performer, not in the building. She had to go back home attending to a personal matter, so she will not be a factor here today. As for Quinnipiac, well, there's a lot of Emmas, a lot of Ellas and a lot of Ryans, right? So we'll have to go first and last names as we get a foul underneath, as Jackie Grisdale, who is their top player, will go to the foul line. But you have the Ryan sisters, Sydney and Ella, and then you have Ella O'Donnell as well, and we're going to keep an eye on Ella O'Donnell and Anna Foley, who comes off the bench, because those are the closest things that Quinnipiac has to a post presence against the much bigger Stanford team.
You know, Anna Foley 6'3", and then Ella O'Donnell 6'3" as well, but this team doesn't have a ton of height, but 1 through 5, they are constantly moving on offense, and they use that to their advantage. That's hard to guard if you're a defender.
Well, they shoot the ball very well, and the defense, which we're now seeing with the backcourt pressure, is out of this world. And as Haley Swain handles for the Cardinal, another outstanding freshman, like Shomfai, a member of the ACC all-freshman team. Courtney Ogden, they're going to need a big day from her. Late clock, and you're going to hear that phrase a lot, I would imagine, today, as Swain is blocked at the rim, O'Donnell the rebound, and back the other way we come. So the Bobcat defense certainly living up to the billing on the first couple of possessions. Stanford unable to get a shot to the rim. That shot is no good by O'Donnell, and the Cardinal clear.
Alexandra Eschmeyer down there on the block. High hands. Like you said, that height is going to be good for them down in the paint.
Aguera fumbles, but gets the ball back to the perimeter. And Chloe Clardy, who's really come on the second half of the season, mostly in a bench role, and now as a starter, and she kicks the mid-range J.
And that's where her money game is at. She does a great job of getting to that middle third area of the court. She stops on the drop of a dime, knocks the bucket down.
Ella Ryan feeds the post. Ella O'Donnell trying to work on Eschmeyer. Goes up with the left hand, but that had no chance, and it's going to be out of bounds. It'll stay with Quinnipiac.
Eschmeyer, just a freshman, but we talk about it, 6'5". If she can stay on the floor for Stanford, that's going to be really good. We're already seeing her height causing a little bit of problems for Quinnipiac down there on the block.
So you mentioned Foley and O'Donnell at 6'3" for Quinnipiac. Those are the tallest players on the entire roster. In fact, Foley at 6'3" is listed as a forward/center. How many 6'3" centers did you play with?
Not too many. Not too many.
Well, they want to go inside, but nothing doing there, so they swing it. Carson Martin will let fly, and she buries the three, and a capable three-point shooter at 36%, and Quinnipiac has a three-point lead. Quickly the other way, Eschmeyer, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Ashley, as one who played the game, but when you have a team that is this stingy in the half-court defensively, get out in transition as much as possible.
Yes, anywhere you can steal a bucket, whether that's transition or getting to the foul line off of a turnover, those are all going to be good, easy ways to get into the flow of your offense.
O'Donnell wanted to face up, just nothing there. Good double by Ogden. Another three-point try is well short by the elder Ryan, Sydney. Aguera, they isolate her, see if she drives it. And a nice play defensively by Sydney Ryan, blocking the shot. Ella Ryan back the other way. O'Donnell 12 feet out, and that's not where she wants to be. But she works her way underneath and scores around the taller Eschmeyer.
Does a great job of being decisive. She gets down there to the block. She's not in a rush. She pivots and finds a shot that she likes.
A 7-4 lead early for the visitors. Catch and shoot three. Clardy drains it from the corner.
That's a shot that Chloe Clardy can knock down. She's shooting 31% from the three-point line, but she has her feet ready all the time, and that's why she's able to knock down that shot.
Well, and that 31% is actually above Stanford's team average at 30%. So they are going to need some semblance of that outside presence, and Clardy's one of the players who's going to have to give it to him.
Yeah, and you see right there, she catches it high, keeps the ball high, always shot ready, knocks it down.
Jackie Grisdale hasn't been a factor yet, but she will be before this game is done. Also an Iron Woman playing 35 minutes a game. Pretty much never leaves the floor. Mid-range jumper is short by Ella Ryan. Rebound Clardy. And here come the Cardinals. Haley Swain, who's really picked up her offense over the last few games. Aguera in close, and when she gets in that close, it's pretty much over.
Aguera's so strong. She gets down there on the block, she takes the contact, absorbs it, and still able to finish. That's a really high-level difficulty shot. She just makes it look easy.
Aguera, one of just 6 Power 4 players in the nation, averaging 15.5 points and 8.8 rebounds, and give it back to Stanford.
Well, and Nunu Aguera's a little bit undersized in the post. She's only 6'2", but she's so strong, and she's active, she's athletic, and she is so hard to guard down there. She really, I think, can go to work this afternoon. If she gets that ball and she's decisive, she demands her presence, it's going to be fun to watch her. That matchup down there is going to be a good one.
And in this game, 6'2", not so undersized. Swain drive it, and she is blocked at the rim. So second rejection for the Bobcats early. And Maria Keeley, who has checked into the game, wing three is good from Carson Martin. So she's got a couple of early triples.
And that's where Quinnipiac shines, is in transition. Their guards are always shot ready. 1 through 5, they're constantly moving, looking for that 3-ball.
And 4 of their 5 starters shoot the 3-ball very proficiently. And a near steal by Martin as she knocks it out of bounds, as Eschmeyer telegraphed that pass to the wing.
And right here you get the block. That's Foley, and then they're gone. Off to the races right here. Eyes up by Keeley. She finds her guard there. Martin, shot ready, knocks down the bucket. That is what Quinnipiac is so great at.
And on the other side of the floor, Quinnipiac only allowing opponents to shoot 28% beyond the arc. Eschmeyer, in and out and in again.
Touched every part of the rim, knocks it down. You You can see Eschmeyer getting into a flow early. She got a couple of stops defensively, and you can see the confidence starting to radiate from her.
And again, with the size advantage of Stanford, that has to be part of the game plan, and it's good to see the Cardinal executing that plan. Nice backdoor cut. Grisdale with her first 2 points.
And that's what happens with Quinnipiac. Because they can knock down that three ball, teams tend to overplay on the three-point line. They're going to backdoor. That is a huge part of their offense. Stanford's got to be disciplined. There's got to be help side, and then they have to communicate.
So for a game that we expected to be largely defensive, both teams able to put the ball in the bucket early on. Ogden looking for her shot. And Eschmeyer with the offensive rebound, goes back up and scores. And again, Ashley, there it is.
Really impressive by the freshman. She's been active so far to start this game. I like the energy that she's playing with.
Tallest player on the floor and playing like the tallest player on the floor.
One with Eschmeyer on the floor, then you have Foley getting some more minutes than what she may not normally. And yeah, this matchup right here is going to be fun. Foley and Eschmeyer going back and forth. This is going to be a good matchup for both of these teams.
Foley, all-MAC third-team performer off the bench, and she puts Quinnipiac back on top. Back and forth, lead changes early. Swain misses. Eschmeyer couldn't quite corral that offensive board, and back the other way with Martin. And a blur to the rack, but she missed the layup, and that'll be Stanford basketball. So, pretty good end-to-end action here early. We've played just under 7 minutes, and the visitors have a 1-point lead. It's 14-13 Quinnipiac, Sunday afternoon basketball at Maples. This is quite a story for Quinnipiac. Head coach Tricia Fabry in her 31st season as Bobcats head coach. You see the record, which is impressive, but even more impressive, Ashley, the longevity. She is the only head coach this program has had at the Division I level.
I mean, looking at this, doing research, I had to do a double take because I was like, am I reading this correctly? I mean, her being at Quinnipiac for so long is just unheard of in today's game. So what she's been able to do, the longevity, the success is just so incredibly impressive. Coach retiring at the end of this season. So just giving her her flowers and what she's done for this program and women's basketball as a whole.
Probably doesn't have to pay for a whole lot of meals in Hamden, Connecticut, because she is a local legend. Back underway, Stanford down 1. Mary Ashley Stevenson has checked in. They go high-low with the Guerra, and it's high off the window, but no good. Courtney Ogden with the offensive rebound. Shea Ijuwoye has checked in as well, and she just turned it over, and back come the Bobcats. Neither of these teams, Ashley, is particularly deep, especially with the injuries that have stricken both clubs.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it's like at the end of the season. It's March. You're at the tail end of a long season, injuries and everything in between going on, and right now it's just finding a will to win a basketball game.
Martin's got the hot hand. She couldn't connect there, but an offensive rebound. They go right back to work. Inside out, Grisdale for 3, high arching 3-ball, no good, and a foul against Quinnipiac. It'll be on Foley, her first.
That's a good box out there by Stevenson. She's going to have to be aggressive down there on Foley. Got to put a body on her, push her back. That's a good job of drawing the foul.
We talked about the injuries. Shomfai for Stanford, not an injury, but not with the team right now. Of course, they lost Talana Lapolo in mid-January, who is another player capable of contributing offensively. So Stanford thinner now than they were, well, a week ago and certainly a couple of months ago. And on the other side, you know, Ashley, big deal to not have your starting point guard. And Paige Girardi for Quinnipiac out with injury. This is a player who is leading the conference in assist-to-turnover ratio. 4.4 is outstanding.
Yeah, that's a tough loss. And now they have Ella Ryan at those point guard duties. They have 1 through 4 who can really run the ball, but Ella Ryan at the helm of that most of the time, and that's a freshman. That's a lot of responsibility as your first year in college, and so what she's been able to do this season, taking over that role, has been really impressive.
Almost lost the handle there, but Martin has it. She will shoot floating to her left, no good, and Aguero with a strong rebound for the Cardinals. Cardinal go up top to Ogden, and a foul away from the ball. They're going to get Ijuwoye on the moving screen. He's the spark plug, the energy. 5'6". maybe a little too much energy there on the screen. Not much, but move the hip a little bit.
Yeah, and then that's a two-way streak between the guard and the cutter. They got to go shoulder to shoulder, and if you're setting that screen, you got to stop, be still. You have to make sure your teammate runs right off of your hip. You can't leave, and then as the person running off the screen, you have to go shoulder to shoulder and create that contact.
O'Donnell at the elbow, drives it, shoots around/over Stevenson, and nice defense by Mary Ashley, and here comes Stanford again. Clardy going to take it strong, lay it up, and missed another layup. So a tough run for Clardy early, a couple of shots that have not gone down in close, and the ball is out of bounds to Quinnipiac.
Stanford's had several opportunities in this first quarter, getting looks at the rim.
Yeah.
Nunu Aguirre's had a couple of shots. Clardy's had a couple of shots that have just rolled off the rim. So they're getting good looks, but they just got to finish them.
Both teams were 50% or better prior to that first media timeout, and neither team has hit a shot since. O'Donnell pops out. Wants Grisdale, not there, so they hand it back to Martin, who's hit a couple of threes. And Stevenson with a defensive play. And here comes Stanford.
Stevenson got that steal because she had her hands high. She was ready, able to get a tip.
And there's a foul down low as Sydney Ryan is the guilty party.
Yeah, high hands there, Stevenson. And right here, you get the ball out, go. That's a good tip for her. She creates a turnover. Anytime you have your hands up and high, good things happen.
And she's got the basketball and a terrific play off the inbounds. Easy bucket for Stanford.
Catch the defense sleeping, take full advantage, and that was a great screen down there that created that shot.
And that is a sentence you do not hear very often with regard to Quinnipiac, the defense sleeping. Again, they give up less than 52 points a game. Final 20 seconds of the half, 7-second differential, game clock, shot clock. And Foley shoots around Stevenson. Same shot as last time, but this time it goes in. So Stanford will play for the final shot and a chance to take the lead after one. Clardy, stop and pop from three, in and out, no. She's had a couple of in and outs. And that is how the first quarter will end. Back and forth, Stanford and Quinnipiac, 16-15, the Bobcats on the road looking to make this more than just a nice trip in sunny California. They want to get out of here with a win. Back to Maples for quarter number 2 after this. Well, it's never easy to follow a legend, but Kate Pay took over for Tara Vanderveer a couple of seasons ago, and she is now in charge of this historic Stanford program. 36-28, Ashley, in 2 seasons, but of course 17 years under Tara's tutelage here on the farm.
And she's been a part of 2 of Stanford's 3 national championships as a player and a coach. So she knows what winning looks like, just trying to find the right formula with this squad. And they've had a lot of injuries. If this team would have been able to stay healthy throughout this entire season, I can't believe that the sky's the limit for them. But what she's been able to do with the injuries and the adversity, I think is really impressive.
Out of the timeout, a missed jump shot, and Haley Swain back the other way for Stanford. Nice feed, Eschmeyer, and she's fouled and will shoot 2 as Grisdale picks it up.
Eschmeyer is getting active this afternoon.
Very
She's running
much
the
so.
floor, getting out in transition, and good things are coming from that. Anytime you get and run, your guards are going to find you, gets to the free throw line, and she's done it in transition. She's got 2 buckets in transition, and then she's also got a couple of elbow jumper, post bucket, and so she's been all over the floor this afternoon, and I like the energy that she's playing with.
And I like the game plan that she had to be heavily involved. Again, we talked about the size advantage that Stanford has. Quinnipiac has the advantage in several other aspects, at least on paper, so Stanford has to exploit this. The rebounds have been relatively even so far, but they have used Eschmeyer very, very well, and the transition opportunity is key. And another lead change, 17-16 Cardinal. Foley, good ball fake, gets by Eschmeyer, and the help just a little bit late coming over there from Aguirre.
Foley is really good on her feet. For her to be 6'3" and still be able to move the way she does is so impressive. That was a tough bucket she just knocked down.
Well, and you don't score 1,000 points by accident, right?
Exactly.
Another foul at the other end, so a relatively foul-free first quarter, and now we've had a couple early in the second. 2 quickies on Quinnipiac. O'Donnell back in. So Quinnipiac goes with as close as they have to the Twin Towers as Clardy hits the mid-range with both 6'3" players, O'Donnell and Foley, on the floor.
And that's almost back-to-back plays where Quinnipiac has had a slip-up on the baseline out of bounds, and Stanford's taken advantage both times. That's not something that we're used to seeing from them.
19-18. Great defense by Ogden. She's got the steal. That was tremendous. Back the other way, transition opportunity. Aguirre takes it strong, uses the window.
Stanford turning their defense into offense. Courtney Ogden gets the steal on one end. Aguirre's out, takes a little bit of body contact, still finishes, gets the bucket.
O'Donnell will shoot it over Eschmeyer. That's not her shot from 16 feet out. And the Cardinal trying to go on a bit of a run here. And a carbon copy. Aguirre again, right side of the key. Timeout, Quinnipiac.
And that's what we were looking to see from Aguirre. Forces Quinnipiac to call that timeout. She's using her strength and her body control to get to the basket. Really impressive. Good to see her getting going in this second quarter.
And Stanford's starting to impose its will. We talked about the size and maybe athleticism advantage that the Cardinal do have. They lead it by 5. Biggest lead of the game for either team so far today. Well, Ashley, we've fawned over the Quinnipiac defensive prowess, and rightly so, but Stanford's been great on that end of the floor.
Courtney Ogden, one of the more seasoned players on this young roster. Aggressive, hands in the passing lane, gets the steal, and then Nunu Aguirre shoots out in transition. So strong, takes a little bit of body contact, and finishes. Her strength is really what sets her apart down there on that block. We mentioned she's just a bit undersized in the paint, but able to take advantage. And then Ogden again, another steal.
Speaking of defense, Stanford goes full court pressure, and immediately it pays dividends. So the Cardinal on a 6-0 run and looking to improve upon that. And there's another whistle and a foul on Ella Ryan. And it's only taken them 60 seconds to go on that 6-0 run.
Well, and it started defensively. I think that's the biggest thing, is that we talked about it in the first quarter. If Stanford's struggling to score the basketball, how can they do that in other ways besides a half-court set? They're doing it defensively, turning their defense into offense.
Well, and just as we sing the praises, they turn it right back over to the Bobcats. Maria Keeley running the point for Quinnipiac. Carson Martin has a couple of threes in this game. She hit them early. We have not seen much three-point shooting on either side. They go big to big. Foley, O'Donnell. Eschmeyer refusing to give ground, but give credit to Ella O'Donnell for scoring over the taller Eschmeyer.
Ella O'Donnell can score the ball. She is very versatile in that forward position, and she's been so impressive. The way that she had her footwork around the rim is so good.
11.6 rebounds a game for the starting forward. Aguirre gives it up. Eschmeyer for 3. Bam, from the corner.
Eschmeyer is doing it from the block, from the mid-range, and now from the three-point line. So impressive. The freshman has shown up and is showing out so far at 6'5", knocking down the three ball.
A 33% three-point shooter, which actually makes her one of the better three-point shooters on this Stanford roster, and shows off the distance skills there. Biggest lead of the game, Stanford up 6, but O'Donnell answers again.
Quinnipiac's offense is never stagnant. They are never not moving. You have to be alert, you have to communicate, or else they're going to take advantage every possession.
Catch and shoot 3, left wing, no good for Clardy. Thought she got bumped there a little bit, no call. Quinnipiac really wants to continue to work through the post, and it certainly worked the last couple of times down. This time O'Donnell is short. And Haley Swain, coast to coast, lost the handle, lost the ball. And O'Donnell with another steal for Quinnipiac. Good defense by Aguera, forcing a tough miss from Anna Foley. A nice move, Aguera. Oh, she gets inside, but a clean block. Great recovery.
Yeah, it looked like Aguera had that lane wide open, and somehow Quinnipiac still able to recover and then come down. They grab another bucket on the offensive end. That's O'Donnell, mid-range, money.
Well, she's got 8 points now to lead Quinnipiac. Again, average is 11, so this is a big-time half for Ella O'Donnell, senior from Ireland. A couple of Irish players. And there's another turnover. Ogden a little gimpy trying to get back down the floor and play defense, and a nice move there, but a missed shot by Keeley. Follow it up with Anna Foley, and all of a sudden it is Quinnipiac that's on a run, and we're all tied.
Well, you look down here on the defensive end for Quinnipiac, they are constantly clogging the paint. There's no open lanes for Stanford to even try to get anything going in the key. They're great at help side defense, and they're communicating.
Cardinal has to be strong with the basketball against this team. Clardy is fouled and will shoot 2.
Right here you see Aguera, looks like she has the lane straight to the basket.
Whoop.
And then right here comes the defense recovering. That's Foley again, big time block, and then O'Donnell right here sizes up the defense, hand down, man down, knocks down the bucket. If you're Stanford, you've got to have those hands up. That's just too much room. This is a team full of shooters. Even if it's not at the three-point line, they can still put the ball in the bucket, and that's a nice one for O'Donnell.
So Stanford opened up a quick 6-point lead, and just as quickly, Quinnipiac on a 6-0 run has tied it. And Clardy will shoot a couple of free throws. She's at 77.5% for the season. Leaves the first one short.
Chloe Clardy has 7 on the afternoon so far, but she is absolutely capable of explosive scoring for this team. She dropped 14 in their last game. The Cardinal would love to see her continue to get going here and really try and heat up.
Emma Lizotte has checked in for Quinnipiac. Doesn't play a whole lot. But again, both teams not as deep as they once were. Going a little further into the bench. She's got the basketball and will shoot over Eschmeyer. How about coming off the bench cold and almost knocking down the 15-footer? Offensive rebound. And a three-pointer on the way, and Keeley can't hit it. Scramble for the ball, and Eschmeyer has it. Another defensive foul this time. It's Grisdale who has been quiet so far in this first half.
Stevenson right here, yeah, she just gets knocked off of her spot. But I like the aggressiveness, the want to get that post position down there. Whenever you're aggressive, good things tend to happen. Stanford able to draw the foul. And now you go to the free throw line with 3:54 left.
And it'll be Mary Ashley Stevenson. You look at the foul disparity in this second quarter. That's 5 on Quinnipiac and not a 1. 0 on Stanford.
Well, if you're Stanford, I'm going to take advantage of this, right? You got to be extremely aggressive right now. You have 3:54 left on the clock. Anytime there's a foul called, you're going to the free throw line with the clock stop. Got to be aggressive here.
And oh, by the way, you're the number 16 free throw shooting team in the entire nation at 78%. You want to live at that foul line. Because you know what? As good as Quinnipiac is defensively, can't defend a free throw.
Exactly.
Can't defend that either. O'Donnell is unconscious right now. She's got 10. Ijewoye, nothing inside. Now they get it to Stevenson. Skip pass. Swain hasn't scored yet and still hasn't scored. She missed everything. So Haley Swain, who's been on a heater the last 4 games, unable to find the buckets so far. O'Donnell, a rebound, missed the shot, and Aguera corrals for the home team. Nice find. Ijewoye set her feet, had a good look at a 3. whistle and a foul, and it's going to stay at this end. So again, free throws for Stanford.
When Stevenson has that ball in the high post area, her eyes are up. Again, we talked about Quinnipiac's defense. Their help defense sucks in the paint, so that leaves the corner open. Ijiwoye gets the 3 off, but then Stevenson at the rim, being aggressive, trying to create a second chance opportunity. Doesn't get the ball, but she gets a foul, and like we said, now she's at the free throw line.
So to sum this up, Stanford went on a 6-0 run. Quinnipiac went on a 6-0 run. Outside of those 2 runs, it has basically been a 1-point game since we sat down here this afternoon. That's what it feels like. Back and forth, lead changes. Stevenson tried to make it a 3-point game, and she does. So Mary Ashley Stevenson, who only averages 2 a game, has 5 in the first half, and a steal by Clardy. She will drive it, scoop it, and couldn't score it, but a rebound to Guerra puts it back up and in.
This full court press has been good for the Cardinals so far this afternoon. 2 times they were in it, 2 times they got turnovers, and call it a third right there.
Ijiwoye didn't get a hand on it, but she distracted Martin just enough that it forced the turnover. And remember, the starting point guard for Quinnipiac, Paige Girardi, is out with injury. So ball handling questions, and good on Kate Pay and the staff for looking to take advantage.
3 for 3 in that full court press. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Continue to go to it. Continue to force Quinnipiac to shift and adjust.
Stevenson, she's feeling it. Off window, why not?
Stanford's bigs, man, they came to play today. Stevenson and Eschmeyer on the bench right now, but both of them have contributed huge in this first half so far.
It has not been a game of guards. It has been the bigs for both teams. 3-pointer no by Ryan, and here come the Cardinal looking to build that momentum. And we've got a ball on the floor and alternating possession to Stanford. Yeah, to your point, Stevenson and Eschmeyer have 19 of Stanford's 35. And these are not the big-time scorers for the Cardinals.
Eschmeyer averaging 4 points a game, Stevenson averaging 2 points a game. Really impressed with how they've come in and contributed. You got to be ready when your number's called, and both of them have done that so far this afternoon.
Guerra top of the key, working on O'Donnell. 6 to shoot. Ogden, left-hand layup, money.
There you go. Courtney Ogden has had a couple roll out so far. She gets that one to go. I like her continuing to be aggressive.
And another steal.
4 for 4 in that press.
And Swain, no, they're going to wave that off as Swain with the armbar. So Haley's had a tough first half, looking for her first points and pushed off. I think that was the right call. She extended the arm. She sort of extended the arm.
A little bit. Yeah, that's a tough break for Swain.
Yeah. Part of the problem is Ella Ryan's only 5'8". She falls a lot easier.
Right. But before that, Stanford gets another stop in their press. They're 4 for 4 in that press, creating turnovers and havoc. So even though Swain doesn't get that bucket, I think just the importance of Stanford staying in this press, frustrating Quinnipiac. They haven't been able to figure it out. So even though you don't get the bucket, you still got the turnover. And so either way, there's some good that comes from that.
You talk about Stanford executing defensively, particularly in the press, but I give so much credit to Kate Pay and the staff, because clearly the game plan was exploit the size advantage, and Stanford has done exactly that. And they've taken scorers who are not normally big volume shooters and scorers, right? You mentioned it. Stevenson and Eschmeyer average a combined 6 points a game, and they've got 19 in the first half. That's not an accident. Well,
and it's scouting report basketball, because you look at a team like Quinnipiac and they don't have the height, so you're going to go to your height, see if they can show up and show out, and they have. And then you even look back to the last game, everybody on this list from Aguera, Ogden, Clardy, Swain, Shumfai, they're scoring above their averages. Shumfai out right now, but everybody else has scored above their average, and that's how you win basketball games in March. You got to show up, and when your number's called, you got to be ready to go.
Well, and it's important without Shumfai, who is such an important part of what Stanford does offensively, that without her in the lineup, you need others to pick up the slack. Clearly, as you see, they did that in the first round game, and certainly they are doing it today, although it's different players today, which is, again, something you love to see if you're a coach.
It's impressive because it kind of takes some weight off of the shoulders of a Nunu Aguera or a Courtney Ogden, players that can put up big numbers.
This is a Stanford team that is obviously steeped in postseason tradition. The 3 national championships, the 36 seasons now of 20 or more wins, which they added to with the win in the last game. They got to 20 this year. Stanford is 44-6 all-time in postseason basketball here in this building. It goes without saying, Ashley, one of the preeminent women's basketball programs on the planet.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the house that Tara Vanderveer built. I remember in my younger days just watching college basketball, waiting for my turn to play, and I would watch, Nneka Agumake, Shanae Agumake, Tara Vanderveer when they beat UConn here at Maples. You get a bucket there from Jackie Grisdale. I know she's been waiting for that one to go in all game long, but what they've been able to do here at Stanford, the tradition, I mean, it's just second to none.
And you don't coach 31 years without learning a thing or two. That timeout was certainly a clinic on how to beat the press as Ijuwoye scores in tight. But what do? They attack the press. They find the open shooter in the corner. She hits a 3. And just like that, it changes the dynamics somewhat of this basketball game. It's still, you're down 8, but all of a sudden you think, so this works. We can do this if Stanford pressures us.
Exactly. You have to be able to adjust. Shift and move. Coach calls a timeout. You draw something up. You get your team in a set, get comfortable, get a little bit of confidence getting through that press, and then they get a 3.
Foley has it. High post. Surveying. Still looking. A bit of a mismatch as she shoots over the 5'6" Ijuwoye and scores.
Well, that was the right read by Shea Ijuwoye, but I mean, right there's not much you can do. Anna Foley, 6'3", is just going to shoot right over you, and she's able to knock it down.
So the Bobcats trying to finish this first half with a flurry. They're back within 6 6-second differential game clock, shot clock here at the end of the half. Clardy going to work with 10. Stevenson again finds a shooter in the corner. Drive and kick. It'll be Ogden for 3. Splash. Terrifically executed by the Cardinal.
Shea Ijuwoye gets in the paint, gets 2 feet in, draws the defense, kicks out. Ogden gets the bucket to wrap up the quarter. Big time play.
And a big time shot in that Quinnipiac had started to muster a little bit of momentum there the last minute and a half of that second quarter, and for Stanford to come back with 3 and open this up to a 9-point game heading to the locker room, that's big.
Great job weathering the storm. Teams are going to make runs. Quinnipiac made their runs. Stanford answered with a run of themselves, and so that's a good way if you're the Cardinal. That's how you want to go into the locker room, with positive momentum.
How about Stanford with 42 points against a team that allows 52 per game? We'll talk more about that at halftime. It is 42-33 Cardinals, second round WBIT action here at Maples Pavilion. Show you some of the first half highlights, and I'll be honest, Ashley, this is not exactly the kind of game I expected.
Either way, though, Stanford's getting it done.
Yeah.
We think it's going to go one way, and then it goes the other, and the bigs for Stanford have been the difference maker, and then on the other end, the bigs for Quinnipiac have been their difference maker. O'Donnell has been so impressive this afternoon. Foley got a couple of big buckets, and they've been throwing blows back and forth, and then you see right here, Mary Ashley Stevenson. And then Aguera, the block right here from Quinnipiac. It's been back and forth all game long, and like you said, we're seeing more of what we haven't really expected.
Well, it's interesting, as you look at the first half stats, which will show you the scoring and shooting numbers, what you won't see are the defensive numbers, and Quinnipiac has 4 blocks, Stanford has none. Stanford, however, has 5 steals. So you could argue that the Cardinal defensively are matching the Bobcats, and that's huge because, again, as we've talked about throughout the broadcast, this is a Quinnipiac team that only gives up 51.7 points per game. Stanford's almost there and a half. They had a game earlier this year, I'm sure you saw. They held St. Peter's to 27 points in an entire game on December 29th. That's a Division I record. So Quinnipiac so stout defensively. Stanford has done a nice job not only matching the defensive intensity, but obviously finding ways to score. For the most part, it has been the bigs, but as a team, 16 for 30. That means you're better than 50%, and they've had 4 players putting up significant offense in this first half.
And also, too, the 8 points off of turnovers, I think it has been really impressive. Like you said, they were struggling to score a bit in that first quarter, and their defense is really what got it going for Stanford. Against a team like Quinnipiac, they're defensively, they're just organized, they're connected and disciplined. And so, like, stout, that's just a great word to describe their defense, and Stanford has done a good job working and maneuvering through that. And
how much do you love the Stanford shot selection? They've only put up 6 threes. They've made half of them. And that is not Stanford's calling card. This is not a proficient three-point shooting team, so they're playing to their strengths. They're playing, as you say, to the scouting report, and it has worked beautifully.
Well, I think I said it earlier that they're getting good looks. They just weren't going, but now we're starting to see Stanford get into a rhythm.
You look at the accolades for the Bobcats, and this is a very accomplished team with obviously a very accomplished coach after 31 years in Tricia Fabry. But Carson Martin has a couple of threes in this game. She's the 6th player of the year in the MAC. Jackie Grisdale, who's been relatively quiet, an all-conference first-team performer, and O'Donnell has certainly played like it today.
Yeah, you got 2 first-team all-conference players, 6th player of the year. Just, again, so impressed with this Bobcats team, the efficiency that they play the game with, and they're one of the top 12 teams in the country in their three-point percentage. We haven't seen a ton of that today. I think you credit Stanford's defense. They've only gotten 3 down to go down so far, but this team can shoot the heck out of the basketball, and then they're just efficient up and down the roster. And so really impressive what Stanford's been able to do to kind of keep them at bay so far.
The Stanford length and athleticism, I think, has been a factor, certainly at both ends of the floor. You look at the ACC awards, and we told you at the outset, Shumfai is not here. She's dealing with a personal matter back home in Hungary, but she has been so good for this team all year. Haley Swain, who interestingly hasn't scored today, but Haley Swain has been phenomenal, 17.3 points per in her last 4, and Nunu Aguera is just the constant for this Stanford team.
Well, Haley Swain is a freshman. You're going to have those ebbs and flows in your first year of college basketball, but she has had consistency over this season. She ends up on the all-freshman team. In their last game, she dropped 18, so we know she can put up big numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Hasn't been able to do it today, but other players have showed up when their number's been called. And then, like you mentioned, Nunu Aguera, I mean, she's just tough. She's strong, and she's a bucket. She knows how to score around the rim. Extremely efficient, versatile, so impressive, and excited to see what these players are going to look like as they continue to develop into the next season.
And this is a Stanford team that thrives on balance. They've got 5 players averaging double figures in terms of scoring for the season. One of those 5 isn't in the building, but they do have 4 players today who are getting close to that mark. Eschmeyer's already there with 11, but Stevenson and Aguera and Clardy with 8 points each in the first half.
And you can see that this team has had a little bit of growing pains. They're heavily reliant on their young players, but they have such a high upside because of that, and also that brings some inconsistency, which is expected with freshmen. But these in-game reps you can't replicate that. The experience that these young players are getting right now is going to be huge going into the next season. They've played in a postseason tournament. So many people can't even say that they played in a postseason tournament. So to have those reps in a game like this where you're fighting for a championship, there's only a couple of teams in the entire country that end their season on a win. And so to have the opportunity to do that is so huge.
Well, and you make a great point about how reliant Stanford is on freshmen, unusually so. 894 points this season from freshmen. That's the most at Stanford since all the way back in 1994, 1995. So you're talking about 30 years the last time Stanford was this reliant on freshmen. Now again, Shumfai is not here today and they miss her, but man, you would look at this roster and say, boy, this future looks outstanding. How dynamite is this team going to be in a couple of years when these players are all juniors and seniors? And then you stop and think, oh yeah, we live in the NIL age and you can never bank on anybody being here 3 years from now. But in theory, this program looks like it's heading back on a really solid trajectory under Kate Pay.
Yeah, if Kate Pay can keep this group together for the most part, this is going to be a dangerous team going into next season. You get an off season together with your freshmen here. They get a full year of basketball under their belt. this team could be extremely dangerous trying to get Stanford back to what they've been known to be for so long and you're building it from scratch. If you think you can keep these freshmen from their freshman year to their senior season, oh man, this could be an impressive team. And you and I talked about it before the broadcast. You look at a team like UConn. They have players that have been there since their freshman year, and they have a good chance to go win a national championship. Is that something that we could see shift on the women's side of college basketball? You want players in your program, in your system that have longevity. They've been around. They know how to play in big moments. It'll be interesting to see how the lay of the land continues to develop.
Second half underway. It'll be Quinnipiac basketball as the Bobcats face a 9-point deficit here to begin the second half. Stanford opens again in the customary man-to-man. Foley gets the start in the second half, handed off to Grisdale, and that's a great start for the Bobcats.
That's exactly how Grisdale started the game against George Mason. As she knocked down a little leaner 3-ball. It doesn't take much for her to get that shot off, and if she gets going, Stanford could be in trouble. They got to know where she's at all times on the floor.
And that perhaps offsets the Stanford 3 just before the end of the second quarter, and now here's a potential turnover. It's going to be a tie-up, so it will stay with Stanford. But if you're Quinnipiac, you want to keep contact, and obviously their MO is to do it with defense, but they are going to have to score some points, and that's a great start.
Great start. If you're Grisdale, it's got to feel good to see that shot go in right as you're starting the half. As a three-point shooter, you see that ball go in, and then the basket just gets so much bigger.
She had 4 threes in that win over George Mason, 21 points in that game. Haley Swain surveying, Ogden on the wing. 3 to shoot, step back 3, and that's going to be off, and way off, as it turns out. Didn't hit anything, so tantamount to a turnover. Quinnipiac will have it, down by 6. Interesting that Tricia Fabry opts to start both bigs in the second half.
I think she knows she needs a little bit of height out there. Stanford's length and their athleticism down there in the post bothered Quinnipiac to start the game, trying to get a bit of a different look.
Again, you learn a few things after 31 years in a program. Offensive rebound, so Quinnipiac with a second chance on this possession. Martin. Foley the fall away. That's a tough shot, but look who's Johnny on the spot. Ryan the easy putback, and it's a 4-point game.
Haley Swain got caught watching there. She turned and looked, and Ella Ryan flew in there right past Swain, grabbed that board and put it back. Again, you got to be able to box out, put a body on somebody.
Swain catch and shoot, still can't find the bottom of the bucket. So momentum all of a sudden wearing blue. Free throw jumper, O'Donnell back iron no, and here comes Swain. And finally, Haley Swain is on the board.
Probably one of the more difficult shots she's taken all afternoon, and that's the first one that goes in.
There was some determination in that drive. The lead back to 6 for the Cardinal. O'Donnell at the elbow, guarded by Nunu Aguera. Foley gets inside of Eschmeyer, and a terrific recovery by Eschmeyer to block or at least alter the shot. And they're going to call a tie-up, so it will be Quinnipiac basketball, but again, credit Eschmeyer for fighting for what seemed to be a rebound the other way, and she wasn't having any of it.
Well, and I think that matchup is going to be interesting because Foley has a bit of a quicker first step on Eschmeyer, so she brings her out to that three-point line like she just did on that play. She'll have a lane to the basket like she did, but that was a great recovery by Eschmeyer. Her length was able to get there and get the block shot.
And Lizotte is back in the game, Emma Lizotte, who again doesn't play a whole lot of minutes, but she saw some time in the second quarter. Now she's back out there as Foley gets a breather. Martin's step back jumper, shot it with confidence, but back iron no. Here comes Swain. It's a race to the tin. Haley Swain left hand up and doesn't get the roll, but she's fouled.
I love the confidence that Haley Swain has played with, getting out in transition. Great job attacking the rim, being aggressive. She struggled this afternoon, hasn't seen a ton of shots go in, but the mindset, just a freshman, to continue to be aggressive, continue to find your spots and look for your shot, and it's going to pay off as the game goes on, and we're seeing that with Swain.
Just 1 of 6 from the floor. She gets her first free throw of the day to go. And her second. So after an early third quarter flurry by the Bobcats, Stanford has answered. Goes back up by 8, 46-38.
When basketball is a game of runs, each team is going to make several runs throughout the game, but you have to be able to remain composed, weather the storm, and get into your sets on both sides.
Here's Grisdale, always looking to score. O'Donnell, nice defense by Aguera, and O'Donnell scores anyway. Good work both ways.
O'Donnell's footwork is so impressive that she was able to knock that bucket down because of how she pivoted until she got comfortable, got where she wanted.
Ooh, Haley Swain reverse it.
That was a tough one right there on the baseline. Throws it up with the left hand. That was not an easy shot.
O'Donnell going to work again, playing with a lot of confidence. Off the window, no. Good rebound, Stevenson. Swain has the hot hand, but she'll give it up. See if she gets it back on this possession. It's Aguera going reverse, and not sure what happened with that shot. Terrific pass, but just too far under the hoop was Carson Martin. Whistle away from the ball, and they're going to get Lizotte fouling Mary Ashley Stevenson. Mary Ashley working really hard for possession on the block.
Yeah, I was watching her that whole possession, and as soon as she crossed half court, she was fighting for position. Didn't get it the first time, but then that ball comes back around. She's fighting again, and just the aggressiveness. You're able to draw a foul. I like it.
Foley back in for Quinnipiac. Ogden has it up top for Stanford. Pass is knocked away by Foley, and here come the Bobcats. Ella Ryan, Grisdale, wing three, missed it. Eschmeyer back on the floor and back on the boards. Almost midway through this third quarter. Stevenson around a screen, nothing there, and double dribble. Stevenson not one of your primary ball handlers, and that one got away from him. So we will step aside midway through this third quarter at Maples. Stanford 48, Quinnipiac 40. We'll be back right after this. "15 minutes remaining here in this second round WBIT matchup. Stanford has the edge 48-40 over Quinnipiac. And Haley Swain, Ashley, has started to assert herself here in the second half after being held scoreless in the first.
Really impressed with the way that she was able to just remain composed as just a freshman. You see a couple of shots not go in, you get frustrated, you get in your head and you get out of your game, but the entirety of this afternoon, we've seen Swain continue to be aggressive, continue to attack, and it's finally started to click for her. And not that she's had, she hasn't been able to put up a ton of points, but she has 5 rebounds, and she's been aggressive. She has 2 blocks, so really contributing all across the stat sheet.
Stanford has done a nice job defensively across the board, and that is where they are here. Foley trying to work backdoor to Martin, and she scores. Nice play out of the timeout.
That's what you want if you're a coach. Out of the timeout, you want to be able to execute. That's a huge bucket for Quinnipiac.
A near steal for Grisdale, but Stevenson chases it down for Stanford. Swain up top, directing traffic. And Stevenson with great position down low. She got bumped. I think it's on Ella Ryan, I believe. As Ogden returns for the Cardinal. Boy, Ryan certainly didn't bump her. They got the reach
Foley,
in.
Foley got her on the arm, yeah. That baseline ref was right there to see it.
Ogden drive it. Ogden score it.
Ogden had 2 chances to take that 3. She stays with it, and then she adjusts in the air, knocks it in off the glass. That's a tough bucket for Ogden.
Well, again, I really like the shot selection for Stanford today. They're not content to hoist up threes. They're really working for the best possible shot on each possession. And there's Mary Ashley Stevenson again impacting the game defensively. Clardy is fouled and will shoot 2.
Aggressive, turning defense into offense. Stanford's been disciplined. They're not forcing anything like you should. And 51% from the field. And then right here, Stevenson, high hands. That's a great block there. And then able to save the ball, keep it in bounds, and then they're off to the races.
It's actually the first block shot of the afternoon for the Cardinals. But Stevenson has been terrific. Made both her field goal attempts, all 4 of her free throws. She's got 8 points, 5 rebounds, and now the block. And we talked about it again. Without Lara Shomfai, somebody in that front court had to step up and contribute, and Stevenson has certainly done a nice job of that today. It is really quiet. Maybe too quiet for Chloe Clardy. I didn't want to say anything. I was afraid I'd disrupt her.
You're right. They might be able to hear us over here on the sideline.
Terrific free throw shooter. Made 1 of 2. And suddenly you look up and Stanford has equaled its biggest lead at 9 points.
When Stanford's led for just over 17 minutes of this game, I think that's something that we've seen them struggle with a little bit this year, is being able to play with the lead. They had a lead in their last game against LMU, and LMU came roaring back, so it's going to be crucial for Stanford to be able to remain composed here and keep the Bobcats at bay.
Boy, more great defense by Stevenson, and she gets the defensive board, and here comes Ijewoye for Stanford. There's a kick.
Stanford's done a good job executing on these baseline out of bounds right here. See if they can steal a bucket.
Swain, runner, is short. And the Bobcats with numbers, 3-on-1. Martin, stop and pop. Missed the shot badly. And now Stanford with a transition opportunity. Swain may take this coast to coast. She spins, and nice job defensively getting back by Martin. And Ogden is fouled. So Stanford has 51 points, which is basically the Bobcats' season average defensively.
Yeah, Stanford's been extremely efficient this afternoon. 50% from the field, 38% from 3, and 83% from the free throw line. Stanford is 10 for 12. That's been a huge part of the game. They've been able to get to the line, but not only get there, knock them down.
By the way, Stevenson has done her damage. She's only played 13 minutes. 8.6 rebounds in 13 minutes. That'll play. And uncharacteristically, the Cardinal missing a few free throws. Again, maybe it's too quiet for them.
Ogden shooting 88% from the free throw line. That's normally a shot that she doesn't miss too often.
You can do it blindfold. But the lead is 10. First double-digit lead for either team this afternoon. It was nip and tuck for about a quarter and a half. It seemed like somebody was up by 1 every time you look up. Then Stanford went on a run, then Quinnipiac went on a run, but the Cardinal opened things up before halftime. And now they have their biggest lead. O'Donnell's been a little quiet recently.
Well, one of the biggest keys for Stanford was being able to defend and contest the three-point line. They've done a good job of that, but if Foley has something to say about it, she's trying to keep her team in this game. She's done it all afternoon. That 1-foot fader is nasty.
Maybe the first mistake Stevenson has made all day, fouling a jump shooter.
Right here, fader off the one leg. Woo! That's tough. Yeah, Stevenson just gets her on the elbow.
It's her first foul, and Foley will try to complete a badly needed three-point play for Quinnipiac.
And that shot is so hard to defend because she's fading backwards. Knocks down the free throw. Because she's fading backwards, the defense has no choice but to hit that elbow right there, and she's still able to finish the shot, gets the three-point play.
Foley's got 13. That leads the Bobcats. 3-point attempt, no good, but a cardinal sin, no pun intended, on Ella O'Donnell. She fouls a three-point shooter, and you get a three-point play at one end, and now you may have just given it right back.
Several uncharacteristic plays from the Bobcats this afternoon. O'Donnell just knows it. She knows she shouldn't have did that.
Yep. That can't be a good feeling.
That's the one thing you never want to do is foul a three-point shooter. Make them make a tough shot, but don't send them to the line with a chance to possibly make a 4-point play. Clardy doesn't get the shot to go down, but you just don't want to put a shooter at the free throw line for three.
Especially a shooter that's 78%. So Stanford erases the three-point play on the other end. Goes back up 10 at 55-45. Maria Keeley running the point for Quinnipiac. And now Martin guarded by Clardy. There's that fadeaway again. Anna Foley feeling it.
Foley, it's just so impressive the way that she's able to keep the ball high when she gets her shot off. That's why she's able to get so many of those to go, because her release point is so high, and then she's fading backwards. That's a tough shot.
The All-MAC third-team performer has 15 points on 7 of 12 shooting. Very efficient, very effective. And now a turnover by the Cardinal.
Yeah, right here. Gets the ball, squares up. Money shot.
$1:45 to go here in this third quarter. And a near steal by Ijewoye. Martin. Oh, she left the layup short. That was an easy two that the Bobcats really could have used. Try and gain some momentum. Other end, Aguera. Pocket pass, Stevenson, beautifully done.
That's a great pass by Nunu Aguera. Draws the double team, able to stay composed, not turn the ball over or travel. Drops it off, Stevenson finishes.
How about adding two more to the ledger of Stevenson, who now has 10 points.
Stevenson and Eschmeyer, the leading scorer. Oh, excuse me, Clardy's in there too, but those are the three leading scorers for Stanford this afternoon. Quinnipiac, O'Donnell gets another bucket.
Well, and 8 from Aguera, and 8 from Ogden, and 6 from Swain. I mean, you love the balance if you're Kate Pay.
That's when Stanford has been successful. It's a group effort. It's never, sometimes it can be one person, but oftentimes when it's the whole roster contributing, that's when they're at their best.
Yep. And look at Mary Ashley battling for the offensive board. The tie-up will go back to the Cardinal.
That's a second chance opportunity. And a stat that you don't see on the stat sheet is the hustle plays,
yeah.
the tips on the balls, the deflections. But I guarantee you there's someone on the bench who's charting those things. And Stevenson has done that all afternoon for this Cardinal team, and it's really been a huge difference maker.
She's also tied her season high with 10 points. And a pretty good day to do it. Postseason action here in the WBIT. Long two-pointer is good for Clardy, and now she has 12.
Clardy's always shot ready. She steps into her shot. She comes off the little handoff, ready to shoot, knocks it down.
It'll be the final possession of this third quarter, as Quinnipiac looking for any modicum of momentum. 5 seconds. Martin gonna have to let fly. She does, and it's blocked by Aguera, and that is how the quarter comes to a close. Crowd coming to its feet, appreciating the effort by the home team Cardinal. They have played really well at both ends of the floor, and they've got a 10-point lead to show for it. It is 59-49. Stanford heading to quarter number 4. Quarter number 4 here at Maples Pavilion, as Stanford, the 2 seed, looks to continue its run through the WBIT. A 10-point lead over Quinnipiac with 10 minutes to go. And Ashley, you can't say enough about the Stanford Bigs. It's been a team effort. The scoring is balanced, but the Bigs have been phenomenal.
You got to be ready when your number's called, and there's no time like March to show up and play your best basketball. And this team is rolling. They've been playing really good basketball, and they're getting contributions up and down the stat line, and that's why they've been so successful. That takes some of the pressure off of Anunu Aguirre, who, could easily put up 26 points like she did in their last game. You have other players stepping up and getting it done.
See what Trisha Fabry calls out of a timeout, and it winds up in the hands of O'Donnell, but she can't get it to go with the left hand, so Stanford with a chance to extend its lead. Stevenson directing traffic. Great feed to Ogden, but the basketball did not cooperate. And Keeley almost threw it out of bounds. Nice job by Ella Ryan. Haven't called her sister's name much at all today. Sydney Ryan's been very quiet. Keeley with 8 to shoot. Here's Foley. And oh goodness, that's a 3, and the foul on Aguirre, whose eyes are as big as Connecticut right now. Saying, I didn't touch her, I scraped the basketball, did not touch the player, but the call is the call.
Let's see if we can get it. It was when she came back down.
Now, obviously that's a massive play, the opportunity to take the lead from 10 down to 6.
And that's what we talked about. That is, you never want to foul a three-point shooter. Now it could be a 4-point play.
Now we do have the WBIT experimental rule in place for this tournament, as we now have a 6-point game. Kate Pay could have challenged that foul call, which she couldn't do in the regular season. Opted not to. And there's a kick out of bounds. It'll stay with Stanford.
That can be a momentum-shifting type of play.
100%.
If Quinnipiac gets a stop here, you could feel a little bit of momentum trying to start to shift. So if you're Stanford, you remain composed and you want to get a great look at the rim on this possession.
Well, and again, worth reminding, especially if folks maybe weren't around for the first half of this game, Stanford has been good. They've been efficient offensively today, but let's not forget how incredibly proficient this Quinnipiac Bobcats team is on the defensive end. If they can lock in here, get a couple of stops and a couple of scores, all of a sudden this gets very interesting down the stretch. They're in a zone here, trying to disrupt the Stanford flow. Eschmeyer on the wing. Swain. Skip pass. Ogden. Somebody's going to have to make something happen. Off-balance jumper is no good. So that's textbook defense by the Bobcats and a silly foul by Ogden in the backcourt. I think she didn't mean to swipe. She just sort of got caught up behind the player and fouled her.
You see right here, you get a look at the huddle. Chloe Clardy gathering her team together. That's it, yeah.
She did mean to swipe.
As a player, I read it. I could see what she was thinking there. That's one of those ones where you just want to get it back. You get a tip.
Yeah.
And the wraparound wasn't there, and you pick up the foul. But that was Clardy in that huddle. She's looking at her team. She's telling them, calm down, lock in. Like, we got to focus here. Get a stop.
Grisdale jump shot, good. And after all that, it's 59-55. That 4-point play is massive in the scope of this game. That makes this a pretty big possession for the Cardinal. Trying to stem the tide.
Right here, they got to get the ball in the middle of this zone. Quinnipiac has them outrunning their offense closer to the half-court line.
You want to get Aguirre a touch, don't you?
Yeah, they got to get the ball in the middle there.
Instead, it's Eschmeyer for 3, no good, and here come the Bobcats. Now they're feeling it. They run the floor. O'Donnell had a path to the bucket, and she didn't take it. Maybe a break for Stanford, because that could have been an uncontested layup.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that, though. I like them settling, getting into their offense. Whatever the ball handler did, she didn't like what she saw, so she brings it out.
Well, instead, it's Ryan with a good look, but she misses the layup. Fumble there by Swain. Get it to Clardy. Plenty of time. Eschmeyer, another look at a 3, and this time she sticks it.
Yeah, you can see a little emotion from Eschmeyer. That's a big-time bucket for Stanford. You can just feel they needed that one to go.
Alex Eschmeyer averages 5 a game. She has 14 on 5 of 6 shooting.
and knocked down 2 3 balls, 2 for 3 from the three-point line. She's been extremely efficient this afternoon. She's been aggressive, and she's looking for her shots.
To the wing, Foley. Good defense by Aguera, forcing the air ball. Here come the Cardinal. Swain with pace. Clardy in rhythm. Back iron, no. That would have brought the house down. And a collision in the backcourt. Once again, you've got a Stanford player missing a shot and maybe exuding a little frustration after the change of possession.
That's a moment where you just have to be disciplined. I don't think Clardy was trying to foul. It more so looked like wrong place, wrong time, but still a couple of silly fouls if you're Stanford in this third quarter. They've done a good job defending without fouling up until this point. They've got to remain disciplined.
Coming up on 6 minutes to go. And a turnover. Ill-opportune turnover for Quinnipiac. Stanford up by 7 again, trying to extend the lead.
Quinnipiac gets out of that zone. They're back in the man-to-man. They only ran that for 2 possessions. Got what they needed, and now they're back in a matchup man.
Well, maybe Eschmeyer shot him out of it. Here's Aguera. Goes to the left hand. Clockwork.
That's what you like if you're Nunu Aguera one-on-one in the post. She's going to eat that matchup up every single time.
That's a big answer by Stanford. This thing was down to a 4-point game. A 5-0 run. All of a sudden you look up, now it's 9, and we've got 5:20 to play. Foley at the elbow. And collision between Clardy and Keeley, and they're going to get Chloe on the foul. Even though it was Clardy who went to the deck.
Yeah, right here, Nunu Aguera, one-on-one. That's easy money for her every single time. If she can get that one-on-one matchup on the block, she's going to go to work.
And she's got 10, which means there are now 5 Stanford players in double figures. Open 3, Sydney Ryan. Didn't I just mention she'd been quiet all day? Maybe I woke her up.
Stanford doesn't get matched up there on that out of bounds, and Quinnipiac makes you pay.
And again, a 6-point game. 5 minutes to go. Aguera over Foley, score it.
Behind the back, catches the ball, stops, leaner to the left and finishes.
So you're saying she's got skills?
Nunu Aguera is nice with it, but she's controlled and she's very decisive on her shot. So it's not just the fancy shot, but she knows what she's looking for as a player.
And a nice job by Haley Swain. Quick hands, forcing the turnover. Here come the Cardinal again. Eschmeyer with a mismatch. She will exploit it and score 2 more.
Eschmeyer really finding her rhythm this game. Forces Quinnipiac to call that timeout.
Tricia Fabry feels maybe this thing's slipping away. We've got 4:14 to go at Maples, and Stanford is back up by 10 as Alex Eschmeyer continues her domination of the smaller Bobcats. Stanford 4 minutes away from potentially advancing to the 3rd round of the WBIT. And you look at the stat sheet, Haley, a lot of impressive things for the Cardinal, but to me, I think other than the individual performances we've talked about of the post players, the fact that Stanford is shooting 51% from the floor against a team that allows opponents to shoot 36% from the floor in this season.
And on the season, Stanford shooting 43% from the field, 29% from 3. They're 36% from the three-point line as well. You got to have big players step up in big moments, and even your role players have to be able to do their part and sometimes step up a little more than expected, and that's what Stanford's got this afternoon so far from their squad.
Still work to be done, though. Plenty of time, 3:55 and counting. It is 68-60, and a 1-3-1 look defensively for the Bobcats.
Yeah, the zone got Quinnipiac a couple of stops early in the 4th quarter. Stanford's got to find a way to get the ball into the paint here.
Shot clock under 10. Clardy. And they almost turn it over. Clardy, somebody's going to have to shoot. 2, 1. It's Aguera from 30 feet, and that's a shot clock violation. So never count out the defensive prowess of Trisha Fabry and this Bobcat team. They can lock you down, and they certainly did on that possession.
Oh, and they extend their zone out so high, it's hard to run your offense. You have to find a way to break into the middle of that, whether that's with penetration or a pass, but you can't run it close to the half-court line. You're not going to get much out of that.
Catch and shoot. Foley, the high arcing three, and that is a big shot for Quinnipiac.
22 on the afternoon for Foley, a player that averages just 9 points. She has done it all for the Bobcats this afternoon, trying to get her team back in this game.
She has been terrific off the bench, mind you, today. See what Stanford can come up with again. Shot clock winding down, and they turn it over. Here's Martin. Will Foley shoot another one? Yes, she will, but this one offline. 2:30 to play. Guerra looking for some help. Finally gets it up top to Ogden. Courtney wants to drive it, but good defense by Grisdale, moving the feet. Dump it down, and now back up top, and Swain's going to try and make something out of it. Block shot. Foley got a piece of it. Here we go the other way. Keeley, O'Donnell, and a reach-in foul by Chloe Clardy.
This is the defense that we've been used to seeing from Quinnipiac all season long. These last 3 possessions, they've been in sync, they've been aggressive, and they forced Stanford to take bad shots and turn the basketball over.
It's the 3rd on Clardy, and it's free throws for Ella O'Donnell. She's 65% on the season. 2 for 2 this afternoon. Make it 3 for 3. She can make this a 1-possession game, actually.
It happens fast. It happens fast for a team like Quinnipiac, the way that they defend the basketball.
They get the offensive rebound off the missed free throw. And there's a steal by Clardy. It's a foot race. Clardy gonna win that foot race.
Defense. We talk about Quinnipiac's defense. Stanford's defense has been the calling card this afternoon and what has kept them in the lead for this game.
Well, and it's Stanford that now has 8 steals in this game. Coming up on $1:30 to go. Clardy got another one. Forced the turnover, and that could prove to be a backbreaker. Now you're up 6 with the ball with 92 seconds.
Yeah, right here in the passing lane. Clardy gets a hand on it, and she's off to the races, finishes the bucket in transition. She does a great job at reading the next pass to the defense, and that's why she's able to get in those passing lanes and create those steals.
Ogden, dump it down, and Aguirre's fouled. It's just the first of the quarter on Quinnipiac.
I know time is of the essence for the Bobcats, but that zone was giving Stanford fits there. Those last 2 to 3 possessions, I would almost go back to it, maybe just for 1 possession, throw them off a little, try to throw the Cardinal off a little bit.
Quick trigger against the man-to-man, boom.
Yeah, right there.
Courtney Ogden.
Yeah, when she's hit that shot in that short corner area multiple times throughout this game.
And a steal for Ogden, and wanted to run, and then realized, oh yeah, we're up 8 with a minute to go. Let's take the air out. Here's the problem for Quinnipiac, still only 1 foul. So it's going to take some time for them just to get Stanford to the foul line if that's their intent. Swain, yes! That may be the dagger.
It just may be with them only having 1 foul. That's a great point you make there. They got to start going on that, because that's going to take time off the clock.
Stanford back up by 10, and you just can't say enough about the job that Kate Pay's group has done on both ends of the floor in this game, putting up 74 against a team that gives up 52 per contest.
Yeah, I mean, they've swarmed Quinnipiac with their defense, especially getting steals, getting in the passing lane. 7 steals on the afternoon. You've got Ogden with 2, Clardy with 2, and then a couple other players with 1. When things got rocky, when it felt like the momentum was shifting, it was looking a little bit murky, their defense answered the call every single time. Eschmeyer shot them out of that zone the first time, but the second time it was their defense that did it.
Eschmeyer with a career-high 16 points in this game.
And so far, what could be the biggest game of her young career? Certainly hasn't looked like a freshman this afternoon.
Nope. Bobcats got to work quickly. They flare Grisdale out, got to look at a three, and knocks it in. So, life support, but still breathing, Quinnipiac. And Kay Pay didn't like the look of the inbound. She calls a quick timeout. If Stanford doesn't turn it over, they win this game. But, again, Quinnipiac, defensively, you never count them out.
Well, the way they shoot the three ball, absolutely you don't count them out. Especially if Grisdale is knocking down that three. She knocks down the three on the last possession. She has such a quick release and a high release. So that ball touches her hand, it's gone. You have to meet her on the catch. You almost have to be there before the catch to stop her from getting that shot off. But like you said, if you're Stanford, take care of the basketball, knock down your free throws, and try to put this one away. But they got to be able to get the ball in here.
Grisdale has a quiet 15 points.
Very quiet. I looked at the stat sheet and I was like, oh wow, but that's what she does. She can hit the big shots, but she can also just drop them in here and there, and you see right here she knocks down a huge one.
She had 4 threes in the win over George Mason in round 1. She has 3 threes against Stanford here today. And Clardy will inbound for the Cardinals. Get it to Swain, and she is fouled immediately, and we may see a couple more fouls in very rapid succession here.
Stanford 14 for 17, 82% from the free throw line this afternoon.
Very much in character for one of the best free throw shooting teams in the nation. You'd like to at least be able to take a couple seconds off the clock each one of these if you're Stanford. You know, half a second. Yeah. And finally, the next one.
Next one to the line.
Will be free throws. They get it to Eschmeyer. So we talked about the freshman having the game of her life. 71% from the line. And a chance to really ice this thing if you can put them up 9 with 40 seconds to go.
And she's 2 for 2 from the free throw line this afternoon.
Trying to build on that career high. First one, no problem.
Just walks up to the free throw line, cool, calm, and collected. Freshman, no sweat, knocking down crucial free throws.
Reminds me of a young Ashley Jones. There it is, 17 points for Alex Eschmeyer. Quinnipiac with a timeout, but Ashley, even if you're one of the all-time great coaches who's got 571 wins in 31 seasons, how much can you do down by 9 with 40.4 on the clock?
You gotta hope Stanford turns the ball over and misses their free throws. That's really the only way to get back into this. Quinnipiac's gotta see a 3, 2 or 3 threes go in, and then they gotta hope that Stanford can turn it over, miss a couple of free throws, give them a chance. I've seen stranger things happen, but if Stanford can take care of the ball and knock down their foul shots, they should be in good business.
Is it safe to assume the words no threes, no fouls are being uttered in that Stanford huddle right now?
Absolutely, absolutely. And also take care of the basketball. 40 seconds is a ton of time. Stanford turns that ball over 2 times and Quinnipiac gets a 3 here or there, that they're right back in this, and we got an interesting ball game. So no fouls, take care of the basketball.
Again, 5 Cardinal in double figures. Aguero with 12, Eschmeyer 18, Clardy 16, Ogden 10, Stevenson 10, and Haley Swain has 8. So we're a couple of Haley Swain free throws away from seeing 6 Stanford players in double figures. And Swain will guard the inbound. Maria Keeley doing the honors.
Right here, you gotta know where Grisdale's at.
Look for 21. Trying to pop out, but they've got her double teamed, and in fact, they held her. Double team good, hold not so good.
Yeah, because Grisdale came off of that flare screen, and she was going to be open. There was a bit of a miscommunication there. Yeah, right here.
Interesting. They called the foul on the ball.
Oh, I don't know. It looked like Ijiwoye might have got a ball there. Maybe on the follow through might have got her on the arm, but
I was so focused on 21 and the fact that she was being held away from the ball, I missed the foul on the ball. Foley 69% from the line on the season. A lot of lefties in this game.
shout out to the lefties.
All right, hit them both. So it's 76-69. And now that whole no turnover thing. Stanford will take a 30-second timeout to discuss how to counteract what will no doubt be a pressure defense situation for Quinnipiac.
If you're Quinnipiac, you're in an all-out denial, full send, go for the steal, and then if not, immediately you want to foul. Stanford gets to advance the ball. The only thing with that is you're limiting your area of space to work, and
right.
So they got to make sure that their guards are getting open,
right,
breaking away, and then when you get the ball, be strong and get it away from the defense. You don't want to cause a jump ball there.
And that's the flip side. The other thing is you can run the baseline. You can't run the sideline. They get it into Swain, and as I said, a couple of more Haley Swain free throws, and she's in double figures as well. And trying to salt this game away with 36 seconds left. They had Reagan Sipla on the floor just to commit that foul. And lefty, free throw, good. And there it is, 6 Stanford players now in double figures. Clock running, 30 seconds to go. Foley has it, dump it down. And a missed layup just might be the final nail, as Maria Keeley could not get it to go. There's another foul, Stanford back to the line, and with 24.8, the Cardinal look like they are on their way to round 3 of the WBIT.
Of the 7 Stanford players that touch the floor, 6 of them are in double figures.
I mean, don't take that.
It doesn't get much better than that.
And Clardy with the first free throw is good.
If this team can continue to produce at this level offensively, they get through this next 24 seconds, they'll have a good chance at playing for a championship. When you have 6 players in double figures, that is hard to guard, because it could be anybody who's putting the ball in the basket. You can't just stop one person, and that's tough.
Bobcats in desperation mode. It is Sydney Ryan missing the 3, and foul not necessary, but they're going to do it anyway with 6.6 on the clock. That's when I don't know. I guess as a player you might understand it. As a broadcaster, you look up and you say, it's an 11-point game. The Stanford players could all literally go sit on the sidelines and you can't come back and win. Why you fouling? But I guess instincts take over, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely an instinct thing, and coaches retiring after when this season concludes. You have players who are seniors who are their playing careers could be coming to an end if they don't go on to play professionally, and so no matter the score, you're playing all out to the last second because that's all you know how to do.
Well, it is the end of a remarkable career. Congratulations to Trisha Fabry in her final college basketball game in her 31st season. And congratulations to Kate Pay and the Stanford Cardinal. They are moving on to round 3 of the WBIT.
And I can't imagine what this conversation is like, but
right?
I'm sure flowers, congratulations on an outstanding career for Trisha. I mean, just what she's been able to do for her program for women's basketball, so incredible. And Stanford, they get it done at home. On to round 3 of the WBIT. They live to fight another day, and have another chance to go out and get a championship.
And I guarantee you that there will be another conversation taking place shortly. As Tara Vanderveer is in the building, I promise you that she and Tricia will talk probably at length when this game is done. Two of the most accomplished coaches in women's college basketball history. But it is Stanford that has the final joy here today on the home floor. A tremendous team effort. Only 7 Cardinal played, and as you mentioned, 6 of them score in double figures. Led by Alex Eschemeyer, career high 18 points. Chloe Clardy had 18 as well. Guerra with 13, and 10 each for Haley Swain, Courtney Ogden, and Mary Ashley Stevenson, who was also tremendous. Stevenson did her damage in just 16 minutes. She was 1 rebound shy of a double-double.
Up and down the stat sheet, Stanford got it done. They checked every single box. They handled business at home, and they lived to fight another day. The name of the game is survive in advance, and you can just see them talking to Eschemeyer in the huddle, talking to Stevenson. Those girls showed up huge in this game, and that is what it's going to take to win a championship. Every single player has to contribute.
And this team had such pep in its step taking the floor here at Maples today. And they have it right now as they leave the floor, and it's great to see they're embracing this tournament. They want to go play for a championship, like you say. So, the Cardinals safely into the quarterfinals. That game will be on Thursday. They will await the winner of tomorrow's matchup between BYU and Missouri. If the Cougars win, Stanford is heading to Provo. If the Tigers win, they're coming here. We got another game at Maples on Thursday night.
So we'll have our eye on BYU, Missouri, see how that goes, and we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens. Tremendous effort for the Stanford Cardinal. They put up 81 points against a team that gives up 52 per game. 6 players in double figures. Masterful at both ends of the floor, and they reap the benefits. A third round or quarterfinal matchup in the WBIT coming up against BYU or Missouri. Special thanks to our entire crew, for Ashley Jones and all the gang here at Maples. I'm Scott Reese. Thanks for checking out WBIT basketball. We will catch you next time.